Business tort fraud can devastate companies and individuals alike, causing significant financial harm through intentional deception. When someone deliberately misleads another party in a business transaction, the consequences can be far-reaching and legally complex. Fraudulent misrepresentation is a specific type of business tort that occurs when one party deliberately deceives another, leading to financial harm. This deception can void contracts and result in substantial damage awards. Unlike a simple breach of contract, business tort fraud involves intentional deceit designed to manipulate another party into an agreement. For a court to determine that fraudulent misrepresentation has occurred, 6 specific criteria must be met. First, a representation must have been presented. Second, this presentation must have proven to be false. Third, the defendant must have known the presentation was untrue or made the statement recklessly without proper knowledge. Fourth, the fraudulent presentation must have been made with the intention that the plaintiff would believe it. Fifth, the plaintiff must have actually believed the fraudulent presentation. And sixth, the plaintiff must have suffered harm as a result of this false presentation. Most business transactions and agreements are governed by contracts, even if they're as simple as a handshake. Contract law manages the transfer of rights between parties and holds everyone accountable to the terms agreed upon. For a contract to be valid, all parties must agree to the conditions in good faith. When someone makes misleading or false statements to coerce another party into an agreement, and this causes harm, the contract may be invalidated. Consider a scenario where a pharmaceutical company wants to acquire another company and boasts about powerful drugs in clinical stages. If they fail to mention that these drugs will never reach the market due to failed trials, the acquiring business might be misled into overpaying. Even if the presentation was made without knowledge that the drugs had failed, it can still qualify as fraud if the claim was made recklessly. Misrepresentation comes in several forms. Fraudulent misrepresentation involves knowingly making false statements. Negligent misrepresentation occurs when a party fails to ensure the accuracy of their statements. Innocent misrepresentation happens without intent to harm or coerce and typically does not constitute fraud. Beyond fraudulent misrepresentation, other common types of business tort fraud include fraudulent inducement, where a party is tricked into entering a contract. Misappropriation of trade secrets involves the unauthorized use of confidential business information. Breach of fiduciary duty occurs when someone in a position of trust acts against the interests of the business. Tortious interference happens when a third party intentionally disrupts an existing contract through deceitful means. Business tort fraud is distinguished from other civil claims by several key elements. There must be an intent to deceive, with the defendant knowingly making false statements or acting with reckless disregard for the truth. The fraudulent act must result in economic damage to a business, and it frequently involves corporate actors such as officers or employees acting within their duties or exceeding their authority. To prove fraud, the misrepresentation must pertain to existing facts, not promises about the future, unless the party made those promises without any intention to fulfill them. A plaintiff must demonstrate that their reliance on the false information was justified and that they couldn't have discovered the truth through reasonable questioning. The plaintiff must also show that the damage would not have occurred without the fraud. Businesses can protect themselves by conducting thorough background checks on partners and vendors, clearly documenting all representations made during negotiations, including fraud-specific clauses in contracts, and training employees on ethical conduct. If accused of fraudulent misrepresentation, a business might defend itself by proving statements were opinions rather than facts, demonstrating lack of intent to deceive, or showing that the plaintiff's reliance was unreasonable. Victims of business tort fraud can seek various remedies. Rescission of contract nullifies the agreement and returns both parties to their original positions. Compensatory damages cover financial losses directly attributable to the fraud. In egregious cases, courts may award punitive damages to punish misconduct and deter future fraud. Courts might also order injunctive relief to stop ongoing fraudulent activities. Business tort fraud represents a serious breach of trust in commercial relationships. Understanding the elements of fraudulent misrepresentation, knowing how to prevent it, and recognizing available remedies are essential for any business owner or manager. When facing potential fraud issues, consulting with a qualified attorney is crucial for evaluating claims and developing an appropriate legal strategy to protect your business interests.